Good morning, YouTube. This is Judy Jones with Judy Tells All. Today, I am going to show you guys a technique to help speed up the process of cleaning up skin. For those of you that don't know, I work at a production house where I'm a full-time retoucher, and a lot of what we do is cleaning up skin like this. And so this technique that I'm going to show you guys today is a technique that's going to remove all these little tiny hairs and freckles and moles. It's going to help clean our image up. This would be the first step that we would take in skin cleanup in an image. It's a very important one. It saves a lot of time. And it keeps the skin texture intact, which is very important. Using something like the clone tool or the healing tool on an image like this to get rid of things like hair and moles and freckles that are in between and embedded like that, it can get really tricky when using the healing and the clone tool. It tends to make it look very fake. It overly smooths and you will lose highlights and shadows in your image. And it takes a lot of time. So the technique that I'm going to show you is a very fast technique that's going to help clean a lot of that up. It won't be perfect, but it will get you going on the right track. So here we have this image on a background layer, and I'm using a stock image because I can't use images from work, and to keep my identity hidden, I'm using a stock photo instead of my own photos. So we're going to copy this layer, and I like to keep everything in a group. It's kind of not necessary for this just because I'm showing you guys a technique, but since this is what we would do first thing when cleaning up skin, this is how I would set it up. And groups just basically keep everything together. So like if I'm working on just the skin, I'll put all the skin layers in a group. And then you can collapse that group and you can toggle the whole group on and off. It's really nice. So now that I have that set up, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Filter, Noise, Dust and Scratches. What this is going to do, the Dust and Scratches filter picks up things that are dust and scratches. But on skin, it picks up moles, little hairs, it picks up little creases in the skin. It's not perfect, and depending on what your settings are and what the resolution of your image is going to change these settings. Your radius, when we turn that up, it's going to blur the image more. It's going to pick up more of the hair and the freckles. And your threshold is what's going to bring back detail from the skin. So the higher that threshold goes, the more detail it's going to bring back. However, if you go too far, it's going to start bringing back some of the hair in there too. And maybe you want that. Who knows? Every image is different. But for this image, we don't want that. So we're going to take that back down to a 10 because that was good. And we're going to take our radius back up. And you really got to just play with the settings to get it right. So that looks pretty decent. We check our face. Okay. Now obviously we don't want to leave our image looking like this. This is not acceptable. This is blurred out. There are things that we clearly don't want showing. So how we're going to handle this is we're going to add a layer mask to that. And What a layer mask does, if you don't know, is it hides and it shows what you want. So when it's white, it's going to show everything on that layer that we just did. If we turn it black, which we want to do for this, it's going to hide everything from that layer, and it's going to show what's underneath. So we're going to make sure that our layer mask is selected, and we're going to select our brush. You're going to go up here and you're going to make sure that your brush settings, your hardness, is set really low. And now comes the fun part. Now you get to go in and you get to paint over everything that you don't want showing. So your hair, this whole chest area that's looking real funky. Now it looks like the settings from my dust and scratches are making making the skin look a little soft. Oops. And you can see in the shadow area, like right here under his pec, we're losing some of that detail. So what we can do to bring that back is select black and bring your opacity down. And you can go over that lightly just to bring some of that back. We'll switch back to white and bring that back up. And you just kind of keep going. What I'll do is I'll go over everything and then I'll go back with black to bring back things that I may have covered up. So I'll just go over this quickly first time around, just to get it done and out of the way. Now I'm not going to go over the entire image. I'm just going to do enough so that you guys can see what this does. Now what we can also do to bring back more texture in that skin, so I'm going to toggle this on and off. You can see it got rid of the hair, the moles. Most of the skin texture is still there. It looks a little soft though, especially next to something like his nipple or an area that we didn't hit. So how we can handle that, and I should have done this before, usually I do it before, but just to show you guys, if that happens, click off of your layer mask and onto your image. Go up to Filter, Noise, Add Noise. That is going to add noise that makes it look like texture. So toggle that on and off. The change is very subtle. If we bring this up too much, it's going to look overly sharpened. It's going to look really fake. So we want to keep that really low. And it is noticeable from a distance. So we're going to say OK. I'm just going to zoom out so you can see what that looks like, because we only touched his chest up here, his upper chest. And we can toggle that on and off. And you see how that has covered up virtually everything we wanted to cover up there. Now, if we go over the whole image, it's going to look a lot more uniform. It's going to look better, like it flows together. Again, I'm not going to go over this whole image, just so you guys can see what this technique looks like as it starts to do its thing. Alright, so again, certain things on this are not perfect. We'll have to go back in and fix. Like, this looks pretty decent, but we would go in with a black brush with an opacity set pretty low to bring back some of this. And we would go back in on some of the shadowed areas too, because those are the areas that seem to lose some of their detail. Like I said, that's when you go in with your black with an opacity set pretty low. And you can bring back things like that. I'm just going to bring some of that back so it doesn't look too fake. There you you go. And that was what this tutorial was for. Using the dust and scratches to clean up skin. This is, again, just for basic skin cleanup to get you started. Later you would go in with a clone and a heel to remove some of the more difficult things that this wouldn't remove, like that line, veins, his scar right there. But, yep, that's it. Hope this was helpful. And make sure to check out some of my other videos for more techniques.